Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, City of Las Vegas Communications Director, David Riggleman. Coming up on today's show, Mayor Pro Tem Brian Knudsen is back. The residents of Ward 1 re-elected him in the primary election. Today, we'll catch up with our MPT and discuss his priorities for the next 4 years. Joining us now with more on everything in Ward 1, of course, is our Mayor Pro Tem and Ward 1 City Councilman, Brian Knudsen. Welcome back to the show and congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful to be here.
You know, you're well aware, maybe the viewers aren't, but during the election cycle, to keep everything fair, our elected officials go on hiatus. So we haven't had him on the show since February, right before the filing period. So it's great to have you back.
I've still been working.
Yes, you've been working a lot, and so you are back, and so we can talk all things Ward 1 again.
Happy to do it.
All right. You know Ward 1 very well. It's your stomping ground. For those of you out there not exactly sure where Ward 1 is located, well, no worries. We're going to show you on the map. Really, it's right at the heart of the valley, right in the heart of the city of Las Vegas. If you live in this area or work in this area, of course, you are in the city limits of the city of Las Vegas. And, of course, if you're a resident there, you are now represented on the city council by Ward 1 City Councilman and Mayor Pro Tem Brian Knudsen for the next 4 years. So
here I am.
I'm
not going anywhere.
I know. And you've said this before in your previous 4 years. Now as we move into the second, you had some strict and firm priorities that you wanted to make sure were accomplished. Let's talk about a few of those. I know one of the things near and dear to you, medical district,
yes.
Making that grow, flourish. Tell us about that. What's on tap? What's next?
So and if you drive through it, it's all completely under construction right now. So it's you may want to avoid it for a little bit. The construction on Charleston will wrap up in November. We're going to start construction on Rancho soon after that. There's a women's cancer center that is out of the ground right now, and you can see that building coming into shape. In September, we're going to break ground on our first apartment complex. So there's a number of developments. There's a public health lab that'll go in right next to the medical school. All of those things are going to happen in the next year. So it's exciting. It's a lot. When I came in, and I think on the first show I talked about the development of a medical community. I think we're seeing that in the medical district, and it's spurred lots of conversations around the valley. In fact, the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance just assigned healthcare within the next 10 years as a primary goal of an economic diversification strategy. And so I'm really happy with the growth we've had over the last several years, and foresee that 10 years from now we're going to have pretty great healthcare in Nevada. You have really shepherded that along, because you and I have both been here a long time, and there was always kind of the rap that, well, if you need good medical care, you got to leave Las Vegas. And obviously, you and the other members of the city council are trying to change that, to make that hub, that medical district, a place of world-class medical care. And we're not done yet. My job as a councilman is the development of Ward 1, so that's been a part of it. But the council job is one part of my life. Using the bully pulpit as a city councilman or a mayor pro tem, you really can have an impact, and that's what I've chose to focus on. Right. Well, we've come a long way. The medical school's up and running. So much is there that wasn't there when you took office already. So congratulations on that. And I know you'll keep the momentum going. We're definitely hearing that. You talked about the construction, Councilman. Let's talk a little bit about the Charleston area plan. I'm excited about this. I'll be honest, I'm not completely sure I know what's going to happen with it. But this is something the city's done that I think is very progressive and very thoughtful about the future. So it aligns with our 2050 master plan. We have some really great long-range planners in our community development department, led by Marco Vallada. And it's really intended to develop a focused plan for the future. So they're working on one for the east side, they're working on one for the west side. Lucky us in Ward 1, they're going to focus in on Charleston. But Charleston is the name is not the best, but it's really most of Ward 1. And what does that development of our ward look like? And so we did a great dinner about 2 weeks ago and asked the residents who live in that neighborhood what they want to see in the future as it relates to parks and community centers and transit and development. And we did the same thing with the development community, saying what do you want the future to look like? And we're working with some consultants now. They're going to put all of that knowledge and information together, and then look at our business licensing, our state code, our city code, and see what incentives we can offer, see what land use planning zoning changes we need to make, and then come up with a comprehensive plan for what Ward 1 could look like. And that'll help fund future efforts as far as applying for federal funds. So that's a really complicated, long way of saying.
No, but
I don't exactly know what's going to come out of it, but the fact that we're thinking about it means a lot to me.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying is that we're going to have some very planned growth with a plan going into the future versus we're just going to let things kind of happen willy-nilly and hodgepodge.
Yes.
And then, which frustrates people. It's like, why in the world would they have allowed these two things to be so close together? Or didn't they think about this when they put this here, you know?
And one of the ways that I would explain this to a resident, because it doesn't make sense. And for me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But if you're a planner and if you're going to apply for federal funds for a community center, for example, which that'll be one of my priorities is another community center in Ward 1, I know that it makes our grant proposal that much stronger if we have a plan for it. And so this is one of those efforts to get us more federal funding into Nevada and build out Ward 1 the way it's intended to be built out.
Well, good. That's great. Looking forward to what comes next with all that. I know we'll keep everybody posted on this show and on our other platforms as well. And then, Mayor Pro Tem, I know you're really another high priority for you. The third one is helping the community develop a better safety net for children with mental health issues.
Yeah, and I started this work, now I can say in the current term I'm in, really around adult mental health issues and crisis response to deal with some of the issues that some of the folks who are homeless on the streets are dealing with. And so by the end of this year, we'll have a fully functional 988 crisis response system up and running. The county purchased a building in East Las Vegas in the county to bring people to instead of hitting up our jails or emergency rooms. But my passion has always been around children. And so partnering with the Children's Advocacy Alliance, I presented to the Legislative Committee last week on 8 priorities around developing a children's mental health system. I've been working closely with the university, and we're very close to developing a whole new profession around working with children and children with behavioral issues, trying to help them figure out what those behavioral issues are before they become more severe emotional issues later on.
It impacts their life in such a negative way as they grow older, right?
So I'm really excited. I have some pretty good confirmation from the state, the Legislative Committee, as well as Health and Human Services, that funding will become available.
That's great.
And as a part of my role, I work with the Children's Advocacy Alliance to bring about 150 practitioners together on a pretty regular basis to help them develop what I call connective tissue, so they know how to make referrals to each other, so they can come up with policy level ideas that'll change the landscape of mental health for children.
And that's been, I think, one of the things that, again, has really lacked in Southern Nevada is resource for children with mental health issues. It's just...
It's not there.
It's not there at all.
It's not there at all. And so this is one of the trade-offs Nevada has made. We have a very low tax structure, and the way I look at it is we've decided to live here and not pay a lot of taxes, and some of the systems we have reflect that. And so using the resources that we do have, trying to build out a system that is more responsive to our community and I think is a better investment if we focus in on children earlier on so we don't have issues later on. Some of those things we're seeing now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's a perfect segue into one of the ribbon cuttings that you recently had. We were talking about mental health and how it affects our children. The National Alliance of Mental Illness recently celebrated a grand opening in Ward 1. You were there. You made this post on social media about that. Tell us about this facility. I guess it goes right in line with what we were just talking about.
Yeah, and it's a great organization, a nonprofit. They received federal funding through ARP, and they work closely with a lot of the mental health organizations in town. For NAMI, what they're going to focus in is on peer support. So they've partnered with another Ward 1 nonprofit called Foundation for Recovery, and they're taking people who are trained, who have struggled with addiction themselves, who are trained to be peer supporters, and then they're employing those folks in the community. Really recognizing that if you're struggling with alcohol or drug dependency and you need to get back on your feet, sometimes you don't need a doctor, sometimes you don't need a psychiatrist, sometimes you don't need a professional, sometimes you just need someone to listen, someone who's taken that road before, someone who's walked in those shoes. And that's really focuses in on is that peer support and helping people find someone who knows their story, who can help them figure out what the next turn is.
I understand that organization provides advocacy, education, support, public awareness to help families and individuals affected by mental health issues. And boy, welcome into Las Vegas. This is really an important step forward for us.
Welcome. This is the time. We definitely need all the help we can get, and so really grateful the federal delegation allowed for ARP funding to come into the state of Nevada. The state of Nevada recognized this is a need. They got some funding, and here we are in Ward 1 making it better for everyone.
Yeah, speaking of funding, I think also Silver Summit Health Plan donated $75,000 to make it possible. So we'll give them a shout out. Thanks for supporting a community need like that.
It's important. Everybody has to come to the table.
For sure, for sure. Well, making progress. Those are important issues. This is pretty crazy too. Time flies when you're having fun. But a local elementary school celebrated a major milestone. We're talking about Wasden Elementary School, 70 years old.
So anybody who grew up in Las Vegas, you grew up in Ward 1 because that's all what Las Vegas was. And then most everybody went to school at Wasden or their kids went to Wasden. It's crazy. Anybody who's been here longer than 40 years, they're definitely going to be aware of that area and that school. And that school was rebuilt right in the middle of the pandemic. It opened up right as the pandemic was happening. And so it was really cool to go there, and it was a completely packed auditorium. Like everybody was there. And old Las Vegans, new Las Vegans, and the woman who ran the Honor Society, who lives in Ward 1, she did a dedication to a time capsule that she put in the ground 40 years ago. And they opened it up and got to see some of those materials that kids put in that time capsule 40 years ago. And it was a great event. And it's fond memories for everybody who grew up here.
You know, Wasden, for those of you who don't know, is near Charleston and Rancho over in that area. And the thing of it is, it has a huge playground area around. It's very large. And so whether your kids went there or not, chances are if they played some kind of sports, they probably had practice at one time or another at Wasden. And some other things that were interesting, you talked about the time capsule from 1984, 40 years ago. And you had they had a choir out there, dance group, Nevada Ballet, storytelling. It was quite
everybody was there. It was a packed audience. And I know Wasden, my kids don't go there, but I do. I'm a Cub Scout leader, and so every other Tuesday I'm there in the same auditorium with 6 crazy little 8-year-old boys. So it's a fun community place. Everybody knows it.
Yeah, and so Wasden going strong, 70 years. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a long
crazy.
time. Yeah, and still going strong, obviously. So glad that we took time to mark that milestone. That's a significant. Not a lot of things in Las Vegas that are that old. We've got a relatively young town, and even though officially we've been around for over 100 years, since 1905, there are not that many things that have been around that whole time. So
Ward 1, it is the kind of the birthplace, that Springs Preserve.
That's right.
So anybody who built Las Vegas kind of lived in Ward 1 or still lives in Ward 1, and they all remember this. So that's what I love, the history of Las Vegas, because it really is Ward 1.
That's very cool. Very cool. And something else to celebrate. This is really great. This is a project that's been in the making for years, but it's that mural that is on the Charleston Underpass. Now, for many of us who've been here a long time, Charleston Underpass used to be synonymous with flooding every time it rained. Not so much anymore. Now we've got a beautiful mural that is there now, kind of connecting the Arts District to the Medical District. And this is one of the biggest murals
in Nevada.
In Nevada, yeah.
So you know what? The funny story about this, so I pulled up the email. My very first council meeting that I got after I got elected, the very first council meeting, the morning I was driving in, I sent Mike Jansen, our city manager, was then a public works director, and I said it's really ugly driving into downtown and we should be changing it. So he had to get NDOT approvals and he had to get FHA approvals and all these agencies approvals, and finally 5 years later, the mural happened. But that's just the start, because the city and their creativity and imagination, they have a $47 million grant to rehab that entire area. So the mural is just the starting off point. So I was super excited, and you have an idea, and 5 years later you can see it, and absolutely just love the fact that we have a city that listens and cares, and I think everybody's going to love driving by that mural, and in 5 years from now, we'll see a brand new archway into downtown. Yeah. And it is all about connecting the districts, connecting the medical district to the arts district, to the founders district, to the entertainment district, because it makes Mira a really fun city to walk through.
Yeah, boy, it's beautiful. It's called Art Therapy, and we should need to give a shout out to the artist, Eric Vizzola.
Yep.
And, I can't imagine a canvas, quote unquote, that large that you're going to try to make it. And it turned out beautifully.
Oh, it's great. So he's such a good job, and he talked about it in really emotional terms because he had a child that was afflicted with some medical issues, and so for him it was
place he was frequently,
connecting the medical to the art, and I think that's going to be incredibly important to our community. And to coincide with that, I have about $1 million of money going into public art infrastructure in the medical district. So there's going to be art and medicine throughout the district. And I'm very excited about it.
That's good. That's what former Mayor Oscar Goodman always said, that those are elements you had to have to be a world-class city. So
they matter.
Yeah, they do. You were talking about the size of the mural. That's one of the largest in Nevada. Folks, to give you an idea, it's 24,000 square feet. That's huge.
If you drive by it, I'd recommend anybody driving by it because it really is. It's quite impressive.
And it took him only 2 months to complete that. I would have thought, oh, that's going to be a year-long project. But Eric, man, he put his brush to the
lots of volunteers and lots of people out there making it happen.
It was quite a process. I remember a lot of the city folks, our mission at the beginning, especially in our public works department, was to go clean the area. It needed to be power washed. It needed to be very clean to where you could start applying the paint. And that was an extensive process too, because it's a busy street. People are using it to get to and from, and so to have all that going on with so I had seen some conversations with Eric, and he talked about people when he was out working would, give him the thumbs up, wave to him, hung, basically to encourage him for the project to keep going forward. So.
It's fun to see it happening, because if you see what I would say history actually happening, because now if you drive by, you assume it's just been there forever. And 10 years from now, people drive by and assume it's been there forever. But to see history happening is fun.
Yeah,
to be part of it, to be part of Las Vegas it's a great time to be part of Las Vegas.
Yeah, it sure is. And MPT also, we've made a lot of progress mitigating the floodwaters out of there too. There's been a lot of work over the years. That used to just consistently flood. We'd get a rain and it would flood there, but not anymore. A lot of effort in the infrastructure. So you can go see it even when it's raining or not to see the
and I'm excited. I bet you a year from now I'll be sharing designs of what the entrance into the arts district will look like from the medical district, because it's going to be more than just the art on the sides. It's going to be a whole grand entrance,
beautiful,
with a gas line being moved and railway kind of shifting around. And so the idea for me was always multiple ways to get into downtown. So you have Alta, you have Charleston, and then the next one that we're starting to work on now is Oakey. So 3 different paths to get into downtown and encourage people to walk down there.
Yep. Well, the arts district, that whole area is flourishing. Medical district is flourishing. So I'm sure it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then, Mayor Pro Tem, I wanted to ask you about this as well. This is really an important project. We're talking really dollars here. The RTC, the Regional Transportation Commission, and the City of Las Vegas have received a federal grant to develop a transit plan for Maryland Parkway. Now, Maryland isn't in Ward 1, but it's a connecting point to so many things in Ward 1, including the medical district and the medical district being the top one.
Yeah, so this is a collaboration between the Regional Transportation Commission, which I sit on, Henderson, the county, and the City of Las Vegas. So it does go along Maryland Parkway, connecting the UNLV campus, and then it wraps around the Bonneville Transit Center in Ward 3, right just down the street from City Hall, and then terminates in the medical district. So it's connecting the UNLV Medical District campus to the UNLV main campus. And it's confusing for me to call it the Maryland Parkway, because it really is a good chunk of it is right in the medical district in the arts district, and hits Charleston as well.
Oh, that's great.
So it's going to be hydrogen fueled buses, and the designs are done. It's $150 million the federal government gave for this project, and you're going to see a brand new Maryland Parkway, a brand new mass transit system into the medical district. So it's exciting for not just Las Vegas, but Henderson, the county, and the RTC as well.
Yeah, it's going to be really connecting all those areas. I wanted to ask you this, MPT, aren't you looking for feedback from the public on this to get some input as we move forward? Is that part of the plan?
To be honest, we've been getting feedback for about 10 years.
Okay.
Feedback's over.
Here loud,
we're done.
Loud and clear. Yeah,
We've been doing
do
it for
something
too long.
about this. Okay.
Yes. No, I actually started this project with the RTC when I worked at the city 10 years ago. And so they've had an onboard program, which was a public stakeholder feedback process for about 8 years. And then I sat on a planning committee before I was ever a council member for this project, and that was 8 years ago. So when I sit as a commissioner for the RTC, the conversation is, why is it taking so long? But now we got a check for $150 million. It'll go much faster.
A lot faster, exactly.
Yes,
right.
we've gotten all the feedback we need. We're going forward.
Okay, sounds good. We've heard you. We're making some changes here. I like that. And we should also mention, Mayor Pro Tem, that all of you folks that are on the City Council wear other hats as well. You serve on other boards and commissions. You serve on the RTC. You serve on the Health District Board.
That's right.
Still on the Health District Board?
I'm still on the Health District Board, Regional Transportation Commission, the Recommending Committee.
Yeah.
There's a few other ones out there.
But that's part of the deal.
Those are the main ones, yes.
And all the City Council members do that. They'll serve, obviously, on the City Council, but because of that position, they'll also sit on other boards and commissions that are in the Valley here, doing important work like this, improving the transportation. It's important because the number of people, the number of vehicles that are now on the roads here, drastically different from when I moved to town, and I'm sure for you as well.
It is a priority of mine to do mass transit, especially along the Charleston corridor. And so the RTC did receive a $6 million grant a year ago. We finalized a contract for the group that's going to study how to implement mass transit along the Charleston corridor. And we just approved that grant, or that contract last week. So I'm looking forward to those conversations. I hope it doesn't take as long as Maryland Parkway.
And we should mention too, the hydrogen bus is a big step forward. Obviously, clean energy, the byproduct of hydrogen power is a few drops of water. So,
and that Maryland Parkway up to the medical district will have a dedicated bus lane. It'll be those giant buses with the accordion in the middle. The transit stops will be upgraded, and there is a group right now that's asking for feedback on what the stops should look like and what they should feel like. And so it's going to be a much safer corridor along Maryland Parkway and going into the medical district. And you can actually see where that bus line is going to go now in the Charleston up to UMC.
Yeah. Great if they could make it a little cooler in the summer.
Yes.
That'd be one thing. So, and then Councilman, I want to mention real quick too. You had a Rainbow Family Park cleanup. This was awesome. I love when people get out and just help. And this was in conjunction with Get Outdoors Nevada, and you picked up 120 pounds of trash. Not you personally, but together as a group. That's amazing.
And we had a good showing. So this was a two weekend event. The first weekend we did the cleanup with Get Outdoors Nevada, and Commissioner Justin Jones from his office sent over people. And so it's a big park. And so we cleaned it up one weekend, and then the next weekend we did art in the park there. So it was super fun to get people out and engaged. And I always, like, it's not about picking up trash, which is a good part of it, but it's about connecting with your neighbors, listening to people, understanding what issues or concerns they have. And in my opinion, like, don't be so angry at people. Go out and pick up trash and find out what's bothering them and find out what makes them happy and get to know people. It makes it a lot easier.
The Rainbow Family Park is now glistening because of that.
That's right.
Again, thanks to our friends at Get Outdoors Nevada. They've always been great partners for us.
They're super fun, always organized.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, Mayor Pro Tem, we're going to take a short break right here, but when we come back, we've got some events coming up in Ward 1 that you don't want to miss. Stay with us, please.
Come on. I know, 2 seconds. Hang on, just stand still. Stand still. 1 second. Just okay, go. Boys, hang on, boys.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are. When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Welcome back, everyone. We have some great events coming up in Ward 1 that we want to tell you about. So, Mayor Pro Tem, let's start with a mainstay. Brews with Brian. It's coming up on Monday, June 24th from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. These are brews as in coffee brews, not beer brews, but you have those too. This is the morning one, so there'll be no beer at this, just some coffee and some good conversation and a good way to connect with you.
This is at the Omelet House. So we were talking about Wasden earlier. So anybody who knows Wasden is going to definitely know the Omelet House.
Yep.
This is a favorite of old, long-standing Las Vegans.
Certainly is.
You'll oftentimes find the Goodmans there. They have their own
Yep.
table. So this is my favorite way to connect with people. It's much easier to listen to people if you're breaking bread and having a cup of coffee
Yep.
or a beer. It just makes it more fun and more enjoyable. So I enjoy listening to people. I always tell people to be nice, but that's my only rule.
Yep.
Be nice, and I'll do everything I can for you.
It's owned by Kevin Mills.
Yes.
He's the owner there, and Kevin is also on our Centennial Commission, serves on that in the community, and he plays host to a lot of city-oriented events. He's happy to open the door and let people meet and gather at the Omelet House. So kudos, Kevin. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and he brought out just real quick. He brought out a great idea about creating some more messaging around Charleston around the signage, and that led to the city's partnering with the Neon Museum. And probably on the next show, I'll be able to unveil a neon sign that'll go right in the middle of Charleston. It'll be a free aspirin love tender sign.
Oh, nice.
From the Neon Museum, so a part of Las Vegas history that'll be part of the medical district history going forward.
That's great.
Really excited about it.
We've had great success with that type of art. Those neon signs restored along Las Vegas Boulevard, so now going up Charleston too. That's nice.
Yes,
So.
the idea came from Kevin, so really grateful for people saying what they want.
Thanks, Kevin. I've known Kevin a long time myself. So, and then we want to let everybody know it's just in time as these temperatures go up. So our summer splash is Saturday, June 29th from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. It's a Garside pool. That's 250 South Torrey Pines. And did we mention, Councilman Mayor Pro Tem, these are free. It's free to get in on those days.
It's going to be very crowded. So I'll probably be bringing my children, I think. And this will be the third time for Kate. Kate was in a Mirabelli summer camp 2 weeks ago, and so that was her field trip to Garside swimming pool. So
nice.
she has very fond memories. She spoke about it. She knows she's going to have to show Andrew around because Andrew has not been there.
Okay.
So I'm very excited to go.
Little sister's going to have the upper hand there.
Yes,
She's going to be
she knows where to go.
Okay, very
so
good.
hopefully everybody can come out and let their kids play around. I found that if I let the kids swim for 2 hours at a time, they sleep really, really well and they sleep in. So
you're pretty smart,
that's
Dad.
the key.
Yeah,
2
exactly
hours.
right. Exactly right. So Summer Splash, it'll be Saturday, June 29th, noon to 2. And again, everybody, it's free. So take advantage because it's going to be hot that day. You know it will be.
Yeah.
Well, MPT, we're just about out of time here, but we want to tell everybody out there, hey, we always want to hear from you. So if there's something you'd like to share with Mayor Pro Tem Knudsen, you can contact him by picking up the phone, 702-229-6405, or send him an email. His address is bknudsen@lasvegasnevada.gov, and he or one of his great staff, Alex or Maria or Dave, will get right back to you. So great to have you back. Welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You have not missed a beat in the time you've been away from this show.
I love the city. I love working, so I'm grateful for the opportunity to continue to do that.
All right. Well, good to have you back, and looking forward to have you back in 6 weeks.
I'll be
Another update from Ward 1, and maybe have the kids on the show.
I'm going to try and bring my kids if they're behaving.
All right. Well, everyone, please don't miss our next show beginning on June 27th with Councilwoman Olivia Diaz. You can catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. And watch for our QR code during the closing credits of this show to subscribe to our newsletter. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time around.